Thank you for joining me again. This is a continuation of the meditations we've done on March 24th and April 6th. We will continue to look at Matthew 6:19 through 21, plus a bunch from Luke. Matthew 6:19 through 21. Do not store up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moth and rust consume, and where thieves break in and steal. But store up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust consumes, and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. We considered earthly treasures, the tangible treasures like money and possessions. We considered intangible possessions, treasures such as time, talent, skills, and abilities. We considered the transient nature of both kinds of earthly treasures, where they will eventually be gone and count for nothing. These treasures are our manna, meant to be used as provided. We considered heavenly treasures and how we can store them up. In Matthew 19:21 is a story of a young man who had led an exemplary life, but was lacking something. And Jesus said to him, if you wish to be perfect, sell your possessions and give the money to the poor, and you will have treasure in heaven. Come, follow me. And I suppose that's the simplest way to convert treasures we store up on earth to treasures we store up in heaven. Other things we considered to help store up treasures in heaven were acting on our desire to follow Jesus, developing a shared, intimate relationship with God, seeking the kingdom of God, being rich in good works. All those things will help us store treasures in heaven. Today we will consider the third part of the passage. Where your treasure is, your heart will be also. And by the way, Luke says the same thing in chapter 12, verse 34. Luke previously said in chapter 6, verse 43, that no good tree bears bad fruit, nor does a bad tree bear good fruit. For each tree is known by its own fruit. Figs are not gathered from thorns, nor are grapes picked from the bramble bush. The good person, out of the good treasure of the heart, produces good. The evil person, out of evil treasures, produces evil. For it is out of the abundance of the heart that the mouth speaks. Luke also reports this parable that Jesus told the crowd in chapter 12, verses 16 through 26. This was about the time he was starting to irritate the Pharisees. The parable of the rich fool. Then he told them a parable. The land of the rich man produced abundantly. And he thought to himself, what should I do? There's no place to store my crops. Then he said, I will do this. I will pour down my barns and build bigger ones. Then I will store all my grains and goods. Then I will say to my soul, soul, you have ample goods laid up for many years. Relax, eat, drink, and be merry. Yes, that's where the phrase comes from. God said to him, you fool, this very night your life is demanded of you. All these things you have prepared, whose will they be? So it is with those who store up treasures for themselves, but are not rich to God. Okay, we get it. We store up heavenly treasures instead of earthly treasures, and our hearts will be in the right place. What I struggle with sometimes is how that works. Is it that if we intentionally work to convert our earthly treasures to heavenly, does that drag our heart with us? Does the action move our heart? That seems to be what the text suggests. Or does it mean that when our hearts are in the right place, we will more and more store up treasures in heaven? That is more like our Reformed understanding of sanctification. Does it work both ways? What do you think? Let's ponder this together for a week or so. Be blessed.